Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. We're looking at the Foundations commanders, and this day we're on Shroofus Sproutsire. So Shroofus Sproutsire is a 3-mana 1/1 legendary creature sapperling with trample, and he says whenever a sapperling you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green sapperling creature tokens. At first, I tried to take this deck in a bit of a sapperling tribal direction, but most of the sapperling cards are actually not very good, so pivoting off of that, I decided to switch to just making Shroofus really big in order to attack, deal damage, and make that many sapperlings. And from there, you can then use those sapperlings to your advantage in order to either draw cards or just beat down the opponent. The first up is going to be our pump spells, and here we have a number of them, such as Embiggen, Giant Growth, Groundswell, Invigorate, Might of Old Krosa, Phytoburst, Seal of Strength, and Vines of Vastwood. All of these cards, for usually 1 mana, but in some cases less or more, will give somewhere between +3, +4, and +5 to our commander, at which point we can attack and generate somewhere between maybe 4 and 6 sapperling tokens. However, one of the problems with these cards is that they are temporary, and thus we can only get the sapperlings off of them once. Now, of course, once we do, we then have many other sapperlings to attack with, but those sapperlings are just 1/1s that have no evasion. With that in mind, we're playing a number of other permanent-based or repeatable pump effects such as Rosethorn Halberd, Rancor, and Hero's Blade. And then in order to take advantage of the many sapperling tokens we're making, we're of course playing a bunch of big pump, with some of the best ones being Beastmaster Ascension and Craterhoof Behemoth, but there's other ones like Coat of Arms, Blossoming Bog Beast, Cultivator of Blades, Eldrazi Monument, which is particularly good in this deck, since even though, yes, we do have to sacrifice a sapperling token, if we're giving all of our sapperlings flying anyway, we should be able to continuously make more and more sapperlings at an exponential rate, so the drawback doesn't really apply. Along with a number of other cards like Triumph of the Hordes, Tendershoot Dryad, and Wild Beastmaster. We also have some card draw to take advantage of our many sapperlings, like Collective Unconscious and Shamanic Revelation to draw cards based on our creatures, or Orin Frostfang and Toski in order to deal damage with our many creatures and draw cards, or of course good old Skull Clamp. We have some additional ways of increasing our output of sapperling tokens, so Parallel Lives will of course double our token production, Roaming Throne will double the trigger, effectively doing the same thing. And Maskwood Nexus is a card that we can deploy in order to name sapperling, and then all of our creatures will become sapperlings, such as all of our mana dorks and anything else we might have, so that they too can produce more sapperlings. Concordant Crossroads is going to be important for making our sapperlings able to tap immediately, which sometimes is relevant in the case of cards like Cryptolith Rite and Enduring Vitality in order to give our sapperling creature tokens the ability to tap for mana. The mana base is pretty straightforward, with some important lands being things like Three Tree City and Gaia's Cradle in order to increase the output of our mana. Also, it's worth noting that Urza's Saga can go fetch up Skull Clamp, which is very relevant in this deck. We, of course, want our commander to survive and not die to either counter spells or removal, so we have a number of cards that allow our commander to be uncounterable or give it hexproof or some such other ability in order to make it so that our commander is not killed. One important card missing from here is Steely Resolve, which is a 2-mana enchantment that gives all creatures of a chosen type Shroud, which we unfortunately can't play because then we would be unable to target our commander with pump spells. We also, of course, have a number of different ramp with such cards as Enduring Vitality and Jaheira and Cryptolith Rite in order so that the additional sapperlings we're making can also tap for mana if needed. And of course, we're going to need a little bit of removal in order to take care of things. We especially need to be able to take care of Drannith Magistrate in order to deploy our commander. And then here we have Natural Order, which is a great way to tutor up Craterhoof Behemoth or Bane of Progress should the need arise. And because we are playing so many mana dorks, we don't need to play that many mana rocks, so Bane of Progress should mostly be asymmetrical, although not entirely. Well, with all that said, that's going to do it for Shroofus Sproutsire in EDH.